Hello everyone, Wendy's on here. Today I have a post from Sistine Research, and they are running through this kind of similar pattern repeating here on XRP. It's like a little wedge pattern that they've noted. It's essentially the same thing as my fractal. You just put the trend lines on it, but as we can see, it's the same um, movement. It's the same pattern. He's noting how, breaks through the all-time high, goes back down, tests this as support, and then it continues to move up. So he's basically noting, okay, here's the all-time high on XRP. We broke past it. We're now trending here on the support. We're due for this move upwards. And, I would say that, yeah, it's all fine and dandy, but it's not. It's not because yeah, when you're super zoomed out, yes, eventually we will have this. We will, as he is pointing out. Yep, he's saying here, $33 to $50 based off the same movement. I don't know how he got that number, but when we look at the chart, we see a completely different story. We see a head and shoulders here, trading on the support, right? So this is the same thing. He's saying, oh look, this time over here, we bounced right here, and then we went up. Yep. This time we should bounce here. I mean, this is the bottom, right? Not really, when you take into account that there's a head and shoulders here. Okay. And here I have some examples of head and shoulders, right? It's not rocket scientist if you're new to trading. It's just a peak, a higher peak, and a lower peak, right? And here in every single example, I'm sure these are smaller time frames, but every single time we see a sell-off, like sell-off right here. Here you don't see the sell-off. Here, sell-off. Every single example, it says that there's a sell-off. Because we know what this pattern is. This is nothing new for everyone who's new to trading. It's well known that this pattern just leads to sell-offs. Now we see this on the weekly. Each one of these candlesticks represent a week. This has been going on for about like literally close to 4 or 5 months now. This was like the beginning of December right here. I'm sure these are smaller time frame examples, but nevertheless, the same principle applies. Just it's going to be a massive sell-off. This thing is $1.23 range right here. So we could probably see a sell-off to a minimum $1.30, $1.35 is not financial advice, right? But in theory, it's supposed to be the size of the head and shoulders, $1.23, leads to the sell-offs. So this is technically conservative right here. I'm saying that this $1.23 movement will lead to this $1.19 movement. Technically on the conservative side, I wouldn't be surprised if it bounced off $1.30, but in theory, we could see this XRP go to 80, 86, 85 cents, roughly, not financial advice, right? I just wanted to cover this real quick. Now that I'm seeing people talking about this fractal, I mean, here I have it overlaid, this movement. This is what this looks like. And I was saying, and this is saying that we're gonna get to 27 the way I laid it out right now. I think a little bit more maybe realistic would be something like this. This is just the past, right? I'm not saying it's gonna do exactly this because as we see, it has its own little variations, right? But when you zoom out, it's pretty close, right? So can we just see a quick little liquidity dip on the higher time frame, and then it keeps on going upward? I don't know. Time tells all here, right? But it's just speculation. And here I just wanted to bring in a little bit of news. How Paul Atkins calls out the previous SEC led by Gary Gensler. Innovation, unfortunately, has been stifled for the last several years. due to market and regulatory uncertainty that unfortunately the SEC has fostered, which is true. Here's Paul Atkins, the new chair of the SEC, and we know the last SEC, right? This guy Gensler. Oh, Gensler. He was kind of keeping XRP down in and around here-ish. Where's the date exactly? It was like December of, was it 2020 that the lawsuit was announced? Somewhere in and around here, right? Now it's all in the past, but now we know they were keeping XRP down. Now things have changed. Different people are in. Can we see this thing go crazy? I posted earlier, or reposted earlier, this here, my chain link. Stable coins aren't the end game. They're just the tip of the iceberg, which is 100% true. And when you got here, tokenized treasuries, tokenized commodities, funds, corporate debt, equities, derivatives, especially, this is quadrillions here alone. Tokenized real estate, I think it's like upwards of 300 trillion in the real estate market. I don't know, insurance and infrastructure, tokenized art, God knows how much money's in there. All of this stuff is just going to lead to more money coming to these projects. More and more money. And that is the stuff. This right here is what will be fueling this, right? Because there's one thing to look at a pattern and be like, oh yeah, this thing could jump 1 billion trillion good deal, but if there's nothing underlying that, that's where I start to question it. But when you have this money that you know essentially will come in here at a certain point, just because it makes sense, it's the cheapest way, it's fast, it's secure, decentralized. I think it makes sense. And honestly, in the same way that this is just the tip of the iceberg, I could see this honestly just being the tip. Really, this is it being actively held down right in and around here. This is just the first couple months of someone saying, hey, we're going to establish this thing. We're going to let this technology flourish, right? Where was it? Where was the post? Right here.
Important work.
Innovation has been stifled. You know, what happens when it's not stifled and it's actually like allowed to do what it's going to do? I think we're going to see this thing pump, guys. I don't know, not financial advice, but just keep your eyes on this, and just kind of keep this as like a reference, right? I've been drawing a lot recently, so maybe you guys could use this as like a reference, right? It's not going to be exactly how your drawing comes out, not down to the detail, but the further and further you zoom out, maybe it'll get closer. Let's see. Can I do a 4-week interval for the month? Dang it. I'm on broke mode here. Okay, it did change it to the month for me. Right? The more and more you zoom out, the closer and closer. When you kind of just squint your eyes, you're like, oh, I kind of see it, right? Let's see if I could zoom out even more, just one more time. Yeah, you keep on zooming out. You're like, yeah, that's pretty close. Yeah, just did it here, not here. I feel like with trading, the more and more you zoom out, the more and more accurate and clear things become. Okay, wait. Sometimes you can zoom out a little bit too far on an asset that has been trading for, 12 years on this chart. When you're doing it yearly, you're looking, okay, what does this mean, right? But when you kind of get in that sweet spot, probably the 3-month, you're like, okay, they kind of look similar. Okay, I buy what you're selling. But then we remember, so we zoom in just a little bit and then we can see this. So we know, okay, we're probably going to have this opportunity here. It's all about time frames and trying to judge them correctly. Because if you don't know anything about fractals, it's like little movements that eventually form these bigger and bigger and bigger movements. There's like orders to it, You zoom out too far, you're gonna miss the probably good opportunities, but you get the picture where it's gonna go. You know, I think the weekly is a nice little zone for this, and we see the head and shoulders. We know it's gonna at least go low, $1.35, 95 cents, and then we have moon. I would love to see how price reacts at around $20 ish. That is personally something I'm curious on, and maybe we'll see a trade and continue to go up. Might see a continuation of this. I don't know, but let's see this first. Peace, guys. I guess like and subscribe and all that stuff.